And we're back. Potentially could be our last game of the day. Empire has, if I'm not mistaken, Empire has assured themselves. Yeah, because Fnatic's down at the bottom. I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Empire's right in the thick of things, right around that 4th position in our overall standings. So for them, this is just all about jockeying for position. For Cloud9, a number 1 seed, or excuse me, a number 2 seed, is on the line. EG, with their win over Alliance earlier today, 2-1, secured themselves the number 1 overall seed, heading towards postseason Western Challenge play. While Cloud9, they're right in the mix with Na'Vi. At a win here would secure them with no need for even a tiebreaker, that 2nd top seed, but they now trail Empire 1 game to nothing, and they're lacking Sing Sing. So just tough times for them, and they've got a huge task laid out before them. I'm your host here in AC Chambers to help break down the draft, I should say, and lend his insight and analysis as he has all throughout the Western Challenge so far. Welcome in once again, Trouth. And this is Empire Dota, man. They take a lead, and they take it by force, and then they kind of cram it right back down your throat, and already more aggression on the way. Resolution's Invoker is arguably one of the best in the West, if not the best. Shadow Demon with an Invoker, and knowing that Rez pretty much always runs an Exort Invoker, expect to see a lot more global presence coming out from them.
Yeah, and I think the bigger thing here is that the Shadow Demon picked up again. Like, I'm ready and waiting for teams to first ban this because of how effective it is. Not even just against Team Empire, just teams in general. This hero is so effective in so many different ways, and I could go on and on and on, but I'm sure everyone gets it. It's a good hero, and Team Empire utilizes better than most. Not to mention Invoker also, as you mentioned, Resolution, just a standout Invoker player. Cloud9, going with some different picks here, and I like them already. Darkseer, Bone7 plays a fantastic Darkseer, and Sand King, I mentioned this a little while ago, but just his ability, if you're up against if you're very aggressive against an off lane, and you can really make them want to leave the lane early on. We saw it with Sand King and Bane and Potom and things like that. Then it frees up the jungle for you, and this hero farms faster in the jungle than almost any hero. We saw before Zai getting a 7-minute and 30-second blink dagger on Sand King with level 7 and Epi ready to go and all that jazz. So fantastic support hero. Wondering to see if Cloud9 can do the same in this game. Yep,
I want to see who they're going to pair with him, and some supports work even better. Crystal Maiden, Sand King, depending on what you want to do, and obviously you can't just be like, Crystal Maiden, Sand King, it's going to win every time. It has a lot to do with the matchups. Crystal Maiden, of course, is very squishy in the face of an Invoker and Shadow Demon, for example. But you know, the Crystal Maiden and the Sand King combination both can jungle very effectively. So like you said, if you want to run defensively and you're able to zone someone out, or even if you just want to sack and just say the hell with it, let's let our farmer farm right in the face of a solo offlane and go into the jungle. They can do that. Crystal Maiden is an excellent hero to stack camps for the Sand King to clear. But again, with the Sand King, it's all about getting him to level 3. He really needs a second point into Sandstorm before he can be effective. But as you already pointed out, once you get him there, he is pretty ridiculous in how quickly he farms. So, you know, just fun little minutia now as we're still waiting for the second ban phase to complete itself. But out of Cloud9, if I'm Empire, I'm banning most likely the Ancient Apparition here. Darkseer and Sand King with an AA is just awful to deal with whenever you're trying to put on aggression. You can be punished so badly. Ice Blast plus Epicenter equals a lot of dead heroes, and that's before a Darkseer vacuums you into it all, or afterwards, I should say.
Yeah, AA actually would definitely be a good ban. I completely agree with you there. The Potom was already banned out in the first phase by Cloud9, so they're not going to be able to utilize that in a lane with themselves. The Gyrocopter also banned out from Team Empire here. We never see this hero banned, picked, let alone banned. And it did just get a buff. I actually don't know what the buff is. All I know is it has something to do with his missile, and it's OP, quote unquote, now. So
actually, I haven't seen it in action yet, so I'd have to.
Yeah, a lot of people in pubs are running it all the time, like Max. You know what? I actually have the change.
Oh, it hits invis heroes.
Oh, it hits invis.
Yeah, it's invis heroes.
Is that all it does?
I think so. I'm pretty sure that it hits invis heroes now. Like,
it takes you at level 4. It takes you 5 hits to actually kill it instead of 3 flat.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much invulnerable. So, but I think they're just thinking of things that could possibly lane with Sand King effectively. With the Potom already being out, they're like, Gyro might be good too. So they ban out the Gyro.
Yeah, the TA ban's a little curious to me. Yeah, that's really all I know to say about it. It's just curious. I'm not sure what the concern for it would be. I I guess, yeah, the Dazzle pick makes sense. I was actually going to say, and as soon as I saw the Shadow Demon picked up in first position before we loaded in and brought the camera and the mics all, back for the coverage, I was actually sitting here and just kind of watching the first pick play out, saw Shadow Demon, and immediately went, Dazzle. Because it's like, yeah, you see a Shadow Demon, plus a Dazzle just makes so much sense and is so hard to cope with in lane for all the reasons you pointed out so astutely in game one, which is they save each other. If you go on the Shadow Demon, Dazzle saves you with Grave. You go on the Dazzle, Shadow Demon saves you with Disruption. And now you have Centaur. I'd love Centaur plus Invoker plus Shadow Demon. It is disgusting. A Ricky pick, though, with the IO. Cloud9 changing it up a little bit, looking to make something happen with the mobility.
If someone was asking, like, right now, what are the most common heroes, or what would be, like, the most common team lineup in this metagame right now? Yep. It would be, I would list 4 of the heroes right now on Team Empire's team. Like, all of these heroes are so popular, and this is, like, cookie-cutter, perfect lineup. Now, Cloud9, they've run this similar lineup before. We just casted them last time, and they had a really, really terrible beginning, like, early start. But they were able to, like, once they hit the mid-game, they just ran over people with the help from Darkseer on IO onto the Ricky. Ricky was like, it was EE playing it.
Yep.
And he had the worst start. He die-backed when he didn't mean to, or he bought-back when he didn't mean to. It was a complete mistake. But they still ran over him with the Ion Shell on top of him, and just the maneuverability of Wisp in general.
Yep.
So that's a very scary combination when you know that you have a team that's competent enough to pull it off.
I'll tell you what worries me here a lot for Cloud9. I suspect they might ban the Clinks here. You could run an unbelievably potent aggressive tri-lane right now with Shadow Demon, Dazzle, and Centaur, and then end up solo farming whatever you felt like solo farming in the safe lane, and that would ostensibly be up against a Darkseer. Darkseer does kind of get pounded by a Clinks. A well-played Darkseer, and certainly it would be from Bone 7. He's phenomenal. Can hang in the lane and do just fine, but the Clinks usually is going to do pretty well himself, so he's not going to be bullied around all that much. We'll see if they're on the same page or not, but yeah, with an Invoker in mid, and again, yep, there it is. That makes that I just about would have guaranteed you that would have been their pick if it wasn't banned. It just makes too much sense not to do so. Whenever you're up against the Ricky, who pre-6 is really susceptible to being killed off. Sand King has mana issues. IO's there to help with that, but IO also very squishy. Disruption, Stomp, Dazzle with the Shadow Wave, and then a Sunstrike for good measure. No one survives that. No one.
Yeah, a mobile carrier of Orchids is actually really effective in this game against Cloud9. I wonder, in this last pick, there's only like 20 seconds left here for Team Empire in total. I'm wondering if they just do standard, like Centaur off lane, safe lane, the tri-lane with Shadow Demon, Dazzle with a hard carry here, and Invoker mid. Because whenever you see a Darkseer, I think, and especially when you have the tools to completely shut him down, and when I mean completely, I mean like he gets absolutely nothing and is forced to go to jungle. Oh, they're going to go more of the same.
Yep,
and it could even be Axe against Darkseer, but Darkseer likes melee heroes, so I don't know if that would be the best thing. So, could even be Centaur, but it's going to have to be, or they could go Invoker. I know they have options, and they're very comfortable with Axe, so why not pick it again?
Yep, I like that a lot, especially into the Ricky. Ricky, most if not all of his damage really comes from backstab damage, and Berserker's Call obviously makes him face up to you, so that mitigates his damage to begin with, just in that particular situation. I mean, Rickies can build any way they want, but very often it's glass cannon kind of a build, and Axe just punishes that horrendously. So, and not to say Cloud9 is, like, I'm not going to call this an outdraft, because like you said, outside of the Axe pick, it's like, oh, spend 4 picks on about as open-ended and effective a lineup as you could possibly have. Those 4 picks would probably be the first to come to mind. So just because Cloud9 is out there a little bit doesn't mean they can't execute it, because Envy is an excellent Ricky player, which, let's be honest, there's not that many that are kind of known for it to begin with, but he runs it more than most. IO, of course, going to be played by Pylai Dai. Pylai Dai is phenomenal on that hero, too. I think really vastly underrated on how good he is on that hero. I mean, when you think of good IO players, you think like, Alliance, you think Fnatic, etc., No-Tail, but they're good too. And it's going to be AUI on the Enchantress pick. And yeah, I want to see how this is going to end up winding itself out. Pylai Dai is going to be on that, Bone 7 on the Darkseer. Okay, just making sure. It's actually going to be a Rise who's going to be on the Sand King. Think this is going to be a mid-Ricky?
I don't know for sure, but I would venture to say that they're going to go a dual lane mid with Wisp. I can't talk. Wisp, Ricky, and Sand King solo short. I think they expect an aggressive tri-lane, and Sand King is kind of elusive, similar to how we saw EG run the solo Nyx. It's very difficult to actually kill him. You can do it, but it's very difficult. And then they're just going to try to maximize their farm with Enchantress in the jungle, and then I think just work on getting the dual lane mid aggression against what they expect to be resolution. They could do something different, but based on who's playing what, that would be my guess. And I think that would probably be the best thing for them. They could just try to fight this, but they're going to have a melee against either Axe or Centaur. Either one of them, it's going to be very, very strong against a try-on-try situation. So I would expect a dual lane mid, SK and solo short, and then Enchantress going wherever she wants to go.
Makes sense. And the more I think about it, the more I like the Enchantress pick, because the hero, the hero that's going to be the hardest to deal with early on is going to be the Axe for obvious reasons. We saw it in play in game 1. And Enchantress is a pretty good answer to that. She's got pure damage. She's got range. She can deal. She can slow you to keep you from getting on top of her, and then she can just peck you to death. And I really like the Nature's Attendants as well, because when you look at how this is going to feel for Empire, a lot of their combat potential comes from combinations. You know, the disruption into Stomp, and Invoker, he can go for most of a fight and so on and so forth. So I'm not saying it's all just a big wombo combo that they have to bank on, but for the most part, they need to get a good chunk of work done there, especially if the Darkseer gets a quick mech and can extend the fights, because the mech carrier for Empire, not quite as clear. Not sure who's going to do that and how quickly it's going to come out. So if they can extend these fights, you have Enchantress with Nature's Attendants to keep everyone up and fighting. You have Io, who can obviously help out in that situation too. I think that's how C9 is going to have to do this. Kind of rope-a-dope Empire a little bit.
Yeah, I agree. Because we have, hopefully the pings don't come out, because that's kind of a reoccurring theme here. No. They like to just annoy us, but oh,
you can't write when you're a broadcaster. I hate it. I was trying to write no
does it make it all like fat and stuff?
It does this. Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy.
But whatevs. Looks like another quick pause as they either talk it over or smoke a cigarette or whatever happens to be the reasoning. We'll be
hold on, guys, I need a cig.
Yeah.
Can you pause, please?
I could tell stories about odd things that have happened, and I'm a smoker, so I get it. I do. Whenever, not going to go into it. I'll just say at LAN events, I've seen some odd things from some odd players. And then Conrad actually just laughed because he remembers it too. But moving on, this is game 2 of what could be, or what will certainly be, our last series, and this could be our last game of the day today. We've got another series coming up tomorrow, so we hope you'll join us for that. But more importantly, following the conclusion of the broadcast today, the creator of the newest Phantom Lancer item set, debuting under the Alliance header, we'll be doing a live workshop live stream and talking about it. And it's kind of in an effort to just as much kind of show off what he's been doing with his project Live Workshop. It's a really cool place where those who are interested in item creation, be it from a curiosity or an intellectual standpoint, or if you're a creative type who maybe wants to try their hand at it, it's a great resource that he's been working on bit by bit over the last 6 to 8 months or so. And is going to be a great place to go and learn, to not just watch professionals do it, but if I'm not mistaken, and again, I'm sure he'll correct me, and he'll certainly be able to sell it a lot better than I can. But it's going to feature tutorials and all kinds of ways that, a starting point. I feel like that's oftentimes what keeps people from trying their hand at these things is you go, I want to do this. I think I might be talented enough. I think I have the time to do it, but I don't know where to start. And Live Workshop in many ways is going to help you with that. So I'll be tweeting the link to the Live Workshop 3D debut of the Phantom Lancer set under the Alliance header that will be making its way into the game sometime in the near future. And now that things are sufficiently plugged, looks like we're ready to go.
Yeah, he actually still hasn't even picked his hero yet, though. There we go. All right, so Silent on the Centaur Warrunner, and he's getting pooled. So I imagine he goes solo. Yep, they're going to go Invoker solo short against Darkseer. And then they're going to have either Axe or Silent in mid. It looks like it's probably going to be Silent because he's pooled. That would be my guess.
Yep, I like
Although
that.
he does have a Ring of Protection, and that's kind of wonky. There it is. I knew it was going to happen, but a sentry ward placed in the base. Once they changed that, so you have to click another button of control.
Yep. Where did it happen? I didn't see it.
The tier 3 tower in Empire's base. He placed a sentry. I knew that shit was going to happen because it happens in every pub I play.
Yep. And well, see, the funny thing is, like, I tend to play support for my group, and I never had an issue because I just always held control anyway. I'm not sure why, but it just it's just like it was a habit I developed early. And so, like, I see this pretty consistently now, too. But it doesn't bother me. I've never had a problem with it. So hold control, folks. Save your wards. Save some money. You're going to need it, most certainly. Empire, though they are down 1 sentry ward, does manage to get a ward down here in the jungle. And looks like they're looking to be very, very aggressive. It's always want to fly in Vanscore hanging out there with Mag. It looks like Silent is going to double back around to mid. I don't know, though. Let's see. He's actually jumping back into lane here. I thought he was going to loop around. I think, as of right now, there's no one in mid. And Silent's going all the way back. Is he going to block here? And, yeah, he's going to be here. So let's see what they want to do in mid.
Yeah, it looks like it will be an Axe mid. And he actually was the one that pulled Silent, I believe. Because he's missing a Tango, but it is going to be the lanes that I thought it was going to be for C9. The Darkseer top, dual lane mid, Enchantress wherever she wants to go. And then Arise solo short as the SK. And he actually bought boots, too, to make himself just a little more evasive. And I like that decision. But the problem, and I talked about this last game, is that whenever you have a Dazzle or an SD, if you dual lane whoever it is mid, one of them can just move there and then instantly becomes a better dual lane because you have healing capabilities or just defensive capabilities.
And that seems to be the case right now. Mag going toe-to-toe. It's going to be a battle of the melees here in mid. Little guy versus the big red guy. Down at bottom, Arise, as you said. Gonna be doing his own thing for the moment. Silent going to get a great start on the Centaur, at least in theory he should. And gonna be a lot to keep an eye on. As AUI, we can't forget about him, tucked away in the jungle. He's likely to make an appearance anywhere.
Yeah, they actually suspected Enchantress. Yep, they ping him out. They put a ward in their own little jungle area. And Resolution might get dove here. He's very, very slow. Invoker has one of the slowest movement speeds in the game. They actually Ion Shell. There's the heal coming out.
Yep. Shadow Wave, though, doesn't have Grave. And it's going to be First Blood drawn by Bone 7. Advanced Core could end up dying here as well. 2 Ion Shells, one on the Satyr, who has, yep, there's the Grave. He hit level 2 amidst all that. Resolution's back up. And Advanced Core still not out of trouble. Yeah, he ends up dying to the Ion Shell just as it expires on the Satyr. So good play there from C9 to get themselves off to a decent little start. First Blood +1.
Invoker is so susceptible early on to any kind of ganks like that, especially in the short lane. Look at the damage! He's going to probably die again. Nope, he's not. He adds the extra quas for added regen, and he will be fine for the time being. But look at the diving potential here. And I mean, in theory, if you're just straight up 1v1 against a Darkseer, it's okay, but you can't expect that against an Enchantress.
Right.
They even expected it because they put a ward up, so they knew that was a possibility. But the diving is just so strong from C9.
Yeah, this is definitely going a lot better as a laning phase for C9. Vanscore level 2.5 has Grave at the ready in 10 seconds. I was going to say he might have a chance to spot AUI, who, yep, has his Wolfie there. Vanscore's moving that way. Mag's going to catch him. Mag has 1 point in the call. Needs to get on top of him to do so, though. And, oh, AUI stutter stepped. He tried to bait it. Now he's going to drag them all the way through mid. It looks like Mag's just going to go ahead and go right on back to lane as Pylite dies there. In the meantime, Centaur, with the help of Always Want to Fly, gets himself a kill on bottom.
Yep, Disruption plus Centaur, Stomp, and the Double Edge. Pretty easy kill, and he doesn't have very many stats because he went for boots first. Sand King actually, Araya is going for the Caustic Finale instead of 1 point in the Sandstorm for the extra evasive maneuvers, and I don't agree with that because he's not ever going to get in range to actually auto-attack creeps and kill them. Oh, Ricky taking a lot of damage in mid. Not that many spins, though, unfortunately, as they will do-si-do.
Yeah, Mag was going to be fine regardless.
Yeah.
You know, with Vanscore there. And this is just what you were talking about. As soon as you put either he or the Shadow Demon in the lane, it just becomes so much more difficult to play forward at all because the aggressive potential is there, but also the defensive potential. And even if they had thought they could have won a fight there's going to be a disruption behind the fight. That's going to end up being Pylite Eye caught out. Mag and Vanscore have to run through, and Pylite Eye is there to, with some help from Envy, Arise there to help turn this around. And this is a disastrous rotation into mid as Empire feeds 3, make it 5-2, and up and top. Resolution just being absolutely accosted by Bone 7. This laning phase not going so well for our Russians.
That was all Eternal Envy. Like, they ran through a cloud, so they couldn't cast any spells. Axe was trying to get there in time to cast Call, and Dazzle wanted to get the heal ball on top of it, but the smoke just completely mitigated all that. So well played by EE.
Dire's top tower.
We're coming up. Well, it's actually just past 4 minutes in. Pylite Die is level 3.5, so he's making very good progress towards his level 6. Resolution once again shoved back under. Now we're going to have a tether onto Bone 7. Bone 7 going to surge himself. And the Spirit's doing a bit of damage. Forge Spirit summoned, but No follow-up, just more dominance here. Resolution continuing to struggle mightily. Only 13 CS for him right now. Mag here in mid, not the best either. He's sitting at 11 CS, and they're not done. They're right on top of Resolution, and Bone 7's chased him back almost to the tier 2 at this point. Down at bottom, Centaur's the one shining moment for Empire, as he's got 28. They're going to need a lot from him. But now Bone 7 in trouble at top. As always want to fly, got aggressive. He's going to end up dead. So Bone 7 now on a killing spree and able to make it away as Pylai Die hooked up with him, and they get the job done. Rotation on to bottom. Here comes AUI. Had the order of his creeps wrong. Got the enchant off. I don't think it's going to matter. They can't dive him that deep. If he had the Dark Troll Summoner out first, maybe they catch him a little bit early. But Darkseer in the meantime makes up for it, getting a tier 1 tower down 6-2. And C9 is absolutely rolling at this point. 3,000 gold their advantage.
And the one player that was getting sufficient farm and pretty much dominating his lane is now contested in the bottom lane. That's Silent. So now he's not going to have a blink as early as he wanted to. And that's the problem, because they needed at least one good lane to just keep being a good lane and propel into the mid game. But now that they're giving him a little bit of contention, he's not going to get his blink as early. And yeah, I don't even know why they tried to get that kill up top on the Darkseer, because there is a Centaur ulti.
Yeah, I was curious. I was looking for the target. They're going to find always want to fly here. C9 should be able to tally at least one more here, and they will. Vanscore there. No, got the grave off. Thought he was going to be too late. They thought they were going to have enough damage. Eternal Envy making their way up, and now engaging on the Vanscore. Courier has to be pulled back manually. Vanscore up under the tower, and Bone 7 thought about diving it out again. They need to get that Courier back to the house. It's going to end up dead. It hung around and flew in no man's land for a while. Mag rotating over now. Might be able to catch 1, 2, maybe 3. Nope, going to be 2 plus a Courier. And throwing out the Berserker's Call, or excuse me, the Battle Hunger. But everyone makes it away unscathed there on both sides. So a little bit dangerous, but no blood on the soil now.
Well, at least that freed up some more time for Silent, as he's able to farm just a little bit more uncontested. But more pressure on the mid tower this time, as Owies has kind of been all over the place. And this is really good for them. They're completely starving out Empire early on here. Invoker's not able to get the farm he wants. He's 20 and 10 compared to 42 and 0 Darkseer. And
yep.
With the Wisp just bouncing between mid and top, he's able to save them, just apply pressure on both sides. So really well played. Very early, low levels on Mag. He wants to be much higher than this.
Rotation down to bottom arises there. Envy is level 6 in Viz and might want to go. Arise is going to walk forward. Silence out there. Looks like Envy's going to pull back, so not liking the way that shaped up. Instead, just going to take what they already have, which is a fairly considerable lead. Resolution is beginning to play a little bit of catch-up still in the bottom half of the overall CS standings. Long way to go for him to get back to where he wants to be.
Yeah, and then you just got to wonder, because since they knew that the possibility of Enchantress coming into their jungle was there as they warded their own camps, they warded their jungle, it makes you wonder why they put Resolution up there and not a more tanky hero like Mag or the Centaur. I think it would have been much better just to have the standard Invoker mid. Even if they did dual lane him, you can just still bring Dazzle or SD mid, so they're kind of feeling the effects of that right now.
See the path drawn on the map. They're going to run right into Empire. Vanscore going to be spotted. And AUI has his smoke popped. And that's actually very fortuitous for Empire. They popped it as they were running uphill, and it's very risky for them to then continue through and run uphill knowing they've been revealed. Bone 7's going to pull back, look to regroup. Pilot Eye hooking up with Eternal Envy, who's now engaged on the Mag. Mag eating a lot of damage. Centaur ulti is going to be used to secure his retreat. So Envy right now is looking quite good on this Ricky. Arise hooked up with Pylai Die and Envy now. And Empire's on the ropes, man. They're kind of sucked back. Silent, though, could change that. He has his Blink Dagger up.
Yeah, it is a very early one. Totally naked. Didn't even get Tranquils. In fact, he's got a Bassi instead. I like Bassi Ring, especially when no one else has one. It's very effective in just giving your team and creeps extra armor to push and whatnot. But yeah, he can start getting active. Unfortunately, he had to use the Stampede defensively. So he's not going to be able to get too aggressive with it right now, but he is maxing all the damage he can. No points in the return. Wants to have extra damage and stun duration for his combo. And could maybe even get a kill here onto Arise if he gets maybe +1.
Empire sweeping out their jungle. Smoked and taking the long road here. Just to make sure no one's there. And misses with the stomp on Arise at bottom. Now he actually could have thought about it. Yep, they're going to go ahead and try to relocate in. Stun, not there. Yep. was really, really smart. I'm actually surprised Arise didn't epicenter there.
I don't know if they have the damage, and it might have just been a wasted epi, but nonetheless, I don't even know why. I mean, it was a good play by Silent to TP out. Pretty heads up, but I don't know why. First of all, I don't think he has all the damage to kill an SK from full to nothing. It's really close, but I don't think he would get it. And he totally whiffed on the stun anyway.
Yeah.
So at least he's able to get out and waste a Wisp relocate.
They do know that IO is 6 if they didn't before, and now maybe looking to engage. Nope, not going to chase him. Are they buying detection yet? That's always the big question. You have Dust is up on Mag, and Vanscore has a sentry on him, so they do have what they need in that regard. Resolution is still just languishing up in this top lane. He's sitting at 42 CS. He's playing catch up some, but yeah, he is sitting on brown boots, plus his glove of haste and a null talisman. Finally, the Midas is complete. So 10-minute Midas, all things considered, could be much worse.
Yeah, it could. They're pinging out Darkseer. They found him. This could be an early death. Yep. Look at him group up in the damage from SG plus Dazzle and the what is that called? The Soul Catcher on top of it with Sunstrike. It is insane.
Dude,
so much damage.
I love Shadow Demon Dazzle. I love it. It's like it's my favorite laning combination, at least right now, to play. Pile die. Yeah, just give him the old okey doke. I always want to fly. Says hello.
I actually couldn't tell he was invis. Like I
oh yeah,
like he wasn't invis.
Is he? Okay, that makes sense. I was gonna say. Yeah, me. I thought. Yeah, I was a little curious as well. But invis IO need to change that. He needs to like go black or something, like darken out.
He looks the exact same. Look at now he's not invis. Couldn't you tell?
Nope, not at all. But C9 still sitting in pretty good position. The items are beginning to come out on both sides. We can see that Empire has cut the lead down some. And this is, I think, a concern. Up against what Empire has, I don't think it's really up. Hang on. This will be nice. Relocate on a resolution. There's the Centaur ultimate popped. He actually got the slow off. And the Burrow Strike, though, from Arise. Able to catch up with him. Down goes the Cloud. Vacuum actually gets Silent into it. And the Stomp caught a couple. He's going to turn around. Oh, you got greedy, Silent. Wanted to get a kill. And don't know if he would have gotten away at all. But certainly not. Up. He may now because he's going to have Grave there. Disruption there onto Bone 7. Bone, they was trying to body block him, but Arise there to help bail him out. And there's the Grave on the side to keep him up and going. There you go. Use that double edge. Bone 7 picked off from behind. And Arise able to clean him up once the Grave expires. However, Vanscore always want to fly by themselves. Pile die, and Arise should be able to track him down. Blinks off cooldown, and they're going to go after Vanscore. So he ends up taking a biff as well. In the meantime, at bottom, AUI has been pressuring this bottom tower. Resolutions there finally to respond. But Ricky, in the meantime, got himself a tower out of mid. So he's up to 2,000 gold plus treads and Poor Man's Shield. I was just going to say before that fight, is it a worry that C9 maybe ends up losing momentum? Not necessarily, giving up a lead, but just losing that head of steam they built up. I don't think that's a worry now.
I can't believe that Sand King got his blink that early. I wasn't really watching him. Maybe he was doing stacks and stuff. But
he was.
That blink was so timely. Like, it couldn't have been more timely than right there, because it was actually a really nice Centaur ulti to get Invoker out. He ran the right direction, but the blink stun from Sand King, again, so perfectly timed, and it was just right place, right time. I've said time about 40 times. Nope, 41. Oh, here we go. Bottom.
And the relocate's there. Burrow Strike and the Epi. Don't think he got the full one off, though. Not that I don't think it's even going to matter, though, as they should be able to clean up Resolution. And there's a net on the Silent. Resolution caught with the Grave from Vanscore. They're trying to retreat. Looks like Silent has a chance to get away. Resolution not so lucky. Here comes Always Want to Fly. Not sure what the thinking was there. Feeding yet another one. Envy right on top of Mag, doing what damage he can, as C9 is just rolling over top of Empire right now. And very cute thought, but I think the execution was a little bit off on the epicenter relocate. Don't think they got all of the waves they could have. Mag eating a lot of damage, and yep, brought down as Envy with AUI just blow him up.
That was just a silly death. Like, that did not need to happen. Thankfully, he bought his blink, so we didn't lose any gold right there, but he also gave up a lot of gold to the other team. So
yep.
There was, like, no chance they were defending that whatsoever. But, again, at least he got his blink, so that's good for them. That's what they're really going to need to bounce back in these fights, because they have no towers right now. They have no way of getting extra gold. So it's right now or never. They need to use their blinks, and they need to create some more space for Invoker. Give him time to split push with those Forged Spirits.
1,100 gold already back up on Envy, who just finished a Midas not long ago at all. So he is...
Why did he go Midas?
Yeah, I'm a little curious on it too. He got it completed just a bit ago, and Envy does like to greed,
like,
man.
Believe me, I always talk about how I love Midas, but this is like not a Midas hero in my opinion. This is I get agility.
Yep.
I get agility items hero.
I build a diffusal blade and kill everyone.
Yeah, I'm not agreeing with that. I'm not a fan of that.
Levels help a lot, and I guess that could be part of the thinking too. But we'll see how it plays out. For now, he and Pylai Dai are sufficiently getting work done, I do believe. And more importantly, C9 has kept all of their towers up, which I think is a feat in and of itself. Because we're at 15 minutes in now, and they've yet to give up a single tower, despite all of the action, all of the pushing, counter-pushing, and so on. Invoker's the only one really in range right now, as the 3 of the top 4 are, in terms of overall net worth, all belong to C9. I guess check that. Centaur's pretty close, too. He's right there behind the Enchantress. But, yeah, we're beginning to see that the Darkseer and the Riki pull away a smidge.
Yeah, I actually haven't looked at the net worth, but they are still up there. And Resolution, I know that he just seems to always come back from deficits like this on Invoker specifically. But he really needs that Necro book. It's going to be a very, very late Necro book compared to what he's normally getting. Here comes a smoke behind him, though, with double blink ready to go. This could be the opening that Empire's looking for.
Moving forward. And looks like C9 sniffs it out. Pylai Dai and Envy both getting tucked up under their own tier 1.
This is pretty... Yeah, sorry to cut you off. This is pretty obvious because no one else is showing on the map and Resolution's all by himself.
Right. And they're going to go ahead and jump on Pylai Dai. Centaur Stomp is there. Sunstrike probably could have saved that. And Envy just says, LOL, see you later. He literally was TPing as his buddy was being hacked to pieces. But they get a tower finally, the first one of the game, and get a decent little kill, though. Pylai Dai not the highest priority hero. Delaying the mechanism a smidgen, if nothing else, though.
They want to defend mid as well. Silent TP's back there. They also TP top. Invoker's got to be careful here, though. Oh no, it's just a Sand King. No one else is coming. And yeah, he should be fine. So they'll defend some towers as long as they don't die up here. Yeah, and Vanscore knows he's sitting behind him.
Yep, AUI and Arise thought about going for it. Thought better of it. Mag looks like he could be going for a blade now. And we'll check out the rest. Looks like Force Staff's done on Invoker, so a little bit of extra mobility will be nice for Resolution. I'm just curious when Empire is going to start to put all this together. Yeah, it seems like, I mean, again, we harped on their draft and just how well-rounded it is and how open it is and how well it all fits together. We just haven't really seen them put that puzzle together yet.
Yeah, but again, they have the tools now to fight. Like, the double blink is really, really effective. SD and Dazzle never lose their effectiveness, no matter how little items or how much items they have. It's always just their skills that make them strong.
Yep.
Not their scaling abilities with items. All that's just luxury, like I talk about. But it's... Oh, actually, a Resolution goes for a Force Staff. We saw this actually out of Hani when he was getting very pressured early on. So he's like, I can't get the book 3. I'm going to have to get more survivability. Force Staff is especially good against Riki. And I actually think it was the same exact game that he got Force Staff. It was against Riki. Yeah, against Cloud9. And it's because of the smoke. Like, the smoke renders you completely useless, and you need to get out of that. So, not a bad pickup.
Mag showing his face in mid, trying to bait something out. We saw Always Want to Fly, Vanscore, and Resolution all kind of hanging on the high ground, hoping he'd be initiated upon, but not the case. In the meantime, Bone 7 just continues to rake in the gold, man. He's got a Mystic Staff up already and 1,700 gold towards his Ultimate Orb, putting him that much closer to a Scythe of Ice, which is a gigantic item if they want to try and close this game out sometime soon. Arise by himself up here, has no idea. Nope, never mind. He actually does have help coming as Eternal Envy is rotating up. But whole lot of enemy faces on the other side of those trees. The rest of C9, though, just kind of doing their thing in mid and jungle.
Yep, and now he already has an Ag Scepter. My god, I haven't really been following him and his item progression, but that's insane. That is really insane. And he's also got Max Untouchable, so auto attacks won't really do too much to him at this point. And a Shiva's here, completed actually for Darkseer.
Yep, I thought it was... Yeah, I thought for sure he'd end up going for a Scythe of Ice instead, but yeah, Shiva's works too.
I think Shiva's nice. It gives him a little bit more AoE. I think in this case, it's more for the AoE damage and just slowing people down. And coupling that with the Epicenter, which is now level 2 here for Arise, and he's almost got his Veil too, so.
And Empire not taking the bait, just allowing creeps and Forge Spirits to do the job. One of those Forge Spirits stolen away. And they get the tower down, whittled down a little bit, but now they're falling back and maybe trying to bait something. Silence actually jungling, needs to pick his boots up. And it's a cute trick. Drop them so that they don't break from damage, but got to be careful when you're doing that in the middle of a game at 20 minutes in, and enemy might be charging down your throat. Looks like they're just going to go ahead and TP away. And then now it looks like Cloud9 has the onus and the ability to try and push their own tier 2 if they want to push down the tier 2 top.
Dude, you know how many times I've seen Centaurs or whoever gets Tranquils just drop them, and then an Invis hero just comes up and walks and takes it?
Yep.
Like,
it's hilarious.
You can totally have that happen with Ricky just grabbing a Tranquils for someone.
Pain in the ass for sure. Pylite Die leading the charge as C9 has converged here. And there's Mag. It goes for it, gets a call on two. Sunstrike's going to connect. Mag tried the dunk, but here comes the Burrow Strike. Shivas is used. Beautiful vacuum into the wall. Silence going to be hit with the Grave. Resolution, 4 staffs to safety, relative safety. Epicenter whiffs on everything and everyone, but doesn't really matter as it's nonetheless a big win. As Always Want to Fly and Vanscore both. That's a 5-man wipe. And that is a bad beat if you're Empire. And this is getting into that territory where it looked like they might have had a chance to take the wind out of C9's sails. Instead, they attach an onboard engine outside, and they are rolling as this tier 2 top is going to drop.
That's such a low percentage kill to initiate like that with an Axe. Axe should never initiate first in team fight settings. He should always be the last or one of the second ones to initiate, because if he initiates first, the probability of getting more than one hero is quite low. And you want a lot of heroes, or even if they're not heroes, you just want a clump of stuff so that you spin more. But when he goes first like that, it just really reduces the effectiveness of the hero. And that was just such a low probability kill. And as you saw, there was a result 5-0. It's going to be really hard for Empire to bounce back after that.
Yep, 17-7. Veil's done on the Sand King as well, so his damage output, the output of so much of C9 and what they can bring to bear right now is just going through the roof. And we're going to have Sand King. You can just see how confident Rise is playing. Up atop.
Mag up top.
Good kill for him. Picking up Bone 7, who bought his Blink Dagger right before he died, though, so he didn't lose much. At bottom, they're going to try to get Silent away, but C9 right on top of it. And now in mid, AUI. Next to be caught out, hit with the cold snap, but able to hustle himself away. And now the relocate brings 2 more back. Arise tethered up, but went the wrong direction, as Resolution is able to make it away, at least for the moment. So C9 continuing to do well. They give one up, but it's one they can afford.
Yeah, and Arise is showing that he's a capable stand-in. He's been playing fantastically this game. Last game we saw him as Puck, but he had some terrible, terrible situations.
Yeah.
But this game, he was 1v2/3-ish with boots first, and he died early on. It was a hard lane, but he had an early blink after doing some stacks, and he's 5-1-5. Been making plays, so well played this game.
Envy continuing up his item progression, has a Yasha done. Could end up going S and Y. He does have 4,000 gold tucked away as well. Could just stick with the Yasha and go something bigger, but for now, taking his sweet time with it. Blink Dagger was picked up, as we saw, by Bone 7. And yeah, I feel like C9's in wonderful shape, man. Coming into this game, I was really on board with Empire and their draft, and I don't think it's a draft thing. I think it's an execution thing. I think C9 just played better. They played better doing it here in game 2, without a doubt.
Yeah, it really stemmed from the beginning. Like Bone 7 and Owie up top just really set the pace for the rest of the game. And yeah, I agree with you. I think the draft was fine from Empire. I think it's cookie cutter and like something that they're used to, but C9 is just outplaying them.
I want to point out how close this Sentry Ward is to this ward from C9, by the way, in the jungle. It's kind of ridiculous. But obviously not able to see, so good placement there. And that's the kind of thing, like, as a guy who's played professional level, do you just, like, commit those things to memory? Like literally, like, within pixels and stuff of, like, okay, this is where I know I can put this ward, or is it just luck?
I'm so terrible at warding, man. Like all those ward spots. It's for me. It's like I open up that web page and I look and see exactly where I need to do it.
Good. That makes 2 of us.
I think at the top level for these support players that are really into the warding, they just go into practice games and they find out for sure what the ranges and all that jazz. So.
All right, C9 looking like they're ready to take a fight. Pylite Die was hooked up with the Sand King. That could be their initiation. They're going to smoke. And looking like they want to fake back. AUI wasn't caught by it. He's going to bait. And they may just go ahead and go in the Roshan. Nope, can't do it with the Rise, Pylite Die, and Bone. Nope, they're going to loop around. End up running right past the sentry and right into some heroes. Mag is going to be busted. Yep, there it is. He's spotted. Ward goes down and immediately initiating in. They got resolution. There's going to be the ultimate stampede used. Silent coming in. Got a two-man stomp off, but a rise there once again. Here comes Mag to try and follow this up. Everything kind of split off, but there's going to be the epicenter. Silent will die to it, and Mag can really do little to deal with any of it. Didn't even see if there was anything happening below ground or below these steps, as that was mostly the Mag and Arise show. But another win for Empire. Stampede does nothing. Empire continues to come apart.
And Envy now has his BKB, so he's pretty much immune to everything. The damage coming out from Axe is just, it's the physical damage from the counter helix is just not enough. And he kind of unfortunately missed his call there. Not like it would have made a difference even if he hit it. But yeah, it's just too much items and too much farm coming out from C9. I don't know how Empire can really realistically get back in this. And because the Invoker went for this Force Staff, he's not going to have much fighting capabilities with the late Necro 3. He's got Necro 2 now, but this is very late.
There's another call. Got one, pops a blade mail, but really nobody there to help him. Here comes the Shivas, and helping to zone them out. Disruption is there. Don't think they can do much about it, and they can't. And they end up losing their tower. Check that, resolution denied it, so at least a marginal victory for them there. Here's Stampede, fresh off cooldown. They want to try and charge them down. And there's a demonic purge on the Pile Die. They'll be able to bring him down. Beautiful vacuum into the Burrow Strike, though. Bone 7 did not have wall, and there was no epi. But still, Silent, all four-staffed up to the high ground. He's trapped at the moment. Mag should end up dead here, and will. And doesn't look like they know or care where the Centaur ended up. But C9 just continues to pound Empire into the ground.
Yeah, I think this one's, for all intents and purposes, yeah, GG. I mean, there's still a small window of hope, but it's, I don't know. It's not really there. They need the Necro 3s, and they needed them about 10 minutes earlier.
Yep.
From resolution. But as you mentioned, it was really the top lane. Like, Owie and Bone 7 just dominated him up there, able to dive him. And they knew it was coming. Like I said, they knew that Enchantress would probably be up there as they warded their own jungle, but they still just didn't do anything about it. And if they did, it was way too late. And the damage output from the, I forget, it was the Satyr, I think? Iron Shell. Oh, hold that thought.
Always want to fly. Died before I could call it. Like, literally, I had the camera there. Couldn't even speak fast enough. He was losing health so quickly. There goes the rock, and here comes the vacuum into Shivas. Caught two with it. Bone 7 still trying to follow up behind this as the rest of them retreat. Behind the fight, Silent has to use his ultimate, and it's going to die anyway. Impetus damage too much. Vanscore next on the list. Trying the TP away. Bone 7 lost his Aegis, but he doesn't care. Rise catches Mag. And EE, yep, dies as there, cleans up another one as well. GG's called for the second time today. We're going to a game 3 as Cloud9 got it together quickly enough to keep their hope of a top 2 seed and D2L Western Challenge playoff contention alive. And Empire, despite a draft I think we both just kind of liked. Like, there's no other way to say it. It's like, yeah, I'd play that draft. Fun game, you know. Strong lanes and stuff. But C9 made it look silly, for lack of a better way to put it. 27-9 is the final score. And great play just across the board. And Eternal Envy finished up 10-0 on Ricky.
Yeah, he was able to do work and just give a lot of damage. I think two things with C9's lineup was really smart. One, like I mentioned from the beginning, Sand King solo short. He's very difficult to kill. They killed him once, but it wasn't enough. They needed to kill him so many times in the point that you can take that tower early on, like you saw last game. So that was really smart. Two, the last pick Enchantress. It was really, really smart, as you mentioned, from C9. And just was able to move around. If they ward your jungle, what happens? You go to the other jungle. And he was able to find kills onto the Invoker. Also, I feel like if Empire just did standard lanes, they would have been in a perfect spot. They would have completely shut down Darkseer. They would have secured farm on either the Centaur or the Axe. And Invoker would have had a good time mid. And if he gets dual laned, well, hey, you just throw Shadow Demon or Dazzle there. So I think if Empire did more standard lanes, they would have been in a better position. But I think at the bottom line, just C9 outplayed in the early game. Yep,
I completely agree with you. Laning phase where all was said and done, and by the time it was over, a very lopsided victory for Cloud9. I'm your host here in AC Chambers. Once again, going to a game 3. Great day at Dota and going to be capped off with a game 3 with a top 2 seed on the line. And again, that does matter whenever you look into our playoff picture. We have 8 teams that were invited to the Western Challenge, 6 of which are going to be going into the playoffs. But the top 2 get a first-round bye. So just having one less chance, or one less chance to be eliminated and one less test on your way to our grand prize. Definitely something that both these teams are interested in. Empire has already qualified for the postseason, but they will. But Cloud9 again is the one with really a whole lot to play for. So looking forward to our third game. Just a reminder, once again, make sure you stick around afterwards. Actually, more accurately, stick around till I give you an address for a live workshop, and that you're going to be able to see the new Phantom Lancer set debut. And I'll explain that towards the end. But for now, make sure you follow myself and Tralf on Twitter as well. I'm at AC at AYESEE. He's at Tralfdota, TRALFDOTA. Game 3, Cloud9 versus Empire, coming up next here on the D2L Western Challenge. Stick with us.